Okay, I think we're live. Are we live? We're live. All right, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 408. Good versus bad character design, tips and tricks. I don't like it when everyone says tips and tricks. That's always a bad sign. It sounds like, hey, traps and zaps, and this is and that's. It's like, oh, no, just give me the actual technique you use to do the thing. And I read some books like on chess moves and other crap like that. It's like, these aren't good ideas. Don't do these. This isn't solid advice. But anyway, let's see who this is from. This is from a video duder called BAM Animation with the M capitalized. I don't know if that's an acronym or what. And this
BAM.
B-A-M. Yeah, BAM. Almost 500,000 subs. This has almost 3 million views. And it came out last year in March. So
supposedly they actually work in the industry. So that's where their experience is.
Oh yeah, I've met and talked to all kinds of dudes, animators, designers, visual artists in the industries, various sectors, and they all have their own way of looking at things. There's no one solid answer to making good character design, but it's the same premise when you're writing a character as you are with visualizing, whether it's visual, like literal visual, or you're describing how they look in a book. So it's all about characterization. And how you show that in cartoons is a whole other story based on style and the structure, because style and structure are virtually the same whether you're talking about written words, a video game world, an animated world. Doesn't really matter. Even a live action world, there's a character style that once you understand, it's like, oh, that is where they're coming from. That's the kind of character or person they're trying to be, because we're always talking about fictitious characters. They're not real, and the idea behind every story is to present the illusion of reality that these characters are people, but they're too complicated, and we can't really go that far within the time frame of 22 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever we got to show a movie to people. So we have to rely on visual cues and symbols and all sorts of techniques to visualize, like Samus Aran. How is Samus Aran an awesome bounty hunter? Because she has a really cool pose, a really cool ship, and she always loses her gear every time she goes somewhere, and it's kind of weird. So she has to get it back, and you see her body upgrade and her abilities change and other things like that. So there's lots of components to visual aids that teach us a story and tell us something about the character without using words or dialogue, which is cool. But we're going to be taught on how to do things from a different perspective, from two guys who have their own interpretation of things. Anyway, this video is 20 minutes and 20 seconds, so it might take us a while to get through, but
oof.
Yeah, we'll see how well they do.
For you, what makes a character design good? This design took more time, so it's good, and this is a simple design, so it's bad.
Okay, so this is obviously being facetious, but these are two different styles, Charlie Brown and the 3D render of, who's that again?
Tracer from Overwatch.
Overwatch, right. So both of them are good in their own styles.
I can only assume he's going to say that.
I would hope so. Style, this is like comparing apples and oranges, and because an apple is, or an orange or whatever is different, doesn't make it bad. So I'm kind of trying to wrap my brain around this joke, if it's a joke and what he means by it. So
I hope it's a joke. I hope he means that style is what makes the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you had a stylistic approach to realism. So you have, I'm trying to think of certain games that do that. The new Final Fantasy reinvention. It's hyper realistic.
Origins.
Origins.
Strangers. I think it's Strangers in Paradise. Final Fantasy Origins.
Oh, really?
The new one, the one with the chaos meme.
Oh, really?
Is it?
I haven't seen it. I don't know. But
you mean the remake of the first game? Or
I was thinking of Final Fantasy VII.
Is that a remake of the first game?
I don't know, but the Final Fantasy VII remake, they obviously beefed up the graphics obscenely compared to the first version. And yes, they have all this detail. They have all these clothings and shoes and swords and whatnot, but it's stylized. The faces are not that hyper-realized. They're not that articulate. They're more anime inspired than they are more human inspired. So there's a simplicity to them, which is what you want in game design. You don't want to exaggerate too much. So
Yeah, the 7 remake especially has a very good balance. Just enough style to it from the original source that it still has that unique feel, but realistic enough where you can take that style and it can, in some, at least in a general fiction sense, it can make sense.
Right, and I
from the
compare
look of
that
it.
to another popular game like Persona 5, which is heavily stylized in a different way. The use of shading and shadow and
Well, it's just anime.
and they just take anime, make it just as slick as possible, HUDs and GUIs, and make it all flashy with not too much exaggeration, not too much. They do a bit with the cat character, I think, but other than that,
Morgana, yeah.
Other than that, pretty straightforward, nothing over the top. Some little bit of cell shading here and there. So
Yeah, very much stylized, but they don't get carried away.
exactly. So simple is good, and these are all basic lessons you learn in art. You don't do too much. You don't get too busy, and it applies to characters as well. So how do you showcase character or characterization or personality in a character? Both of these characters on the screen do it well. So
Yep.
Right?
Well, the answer is it's up to you. Character design is
it's all subjective. No, that I don't think an art teacher would ever say that. They'd say your appreciation of something is interpretive, sure, but not the actual styles. The styles have rules. So
subjective, meaning that it varies wildly from person to person or story to story.
Here at BAM, we would argue that good character design is about clarity. Clarity of self.
So this is one of my rules in my book. Clarity of writing is one of the cardinal rules, and it's very hard to break that rule unless you're doing something funky purposely. So clarity of art, clarity of narrative, clarity of what you're trying to convey is pretty important.
Silhouette, clarity of palette, and clarity of exaggeration.
A character design that's clear in these 3 principles will be recognizable in any art style.
Okay, so this is gonna get into details of what those three things mean. I partially agree with all of them, but there's lots of nuance to these things that you're gonna get into that I disagree with. But I didn't go through the entire video, so I can't say.
We shall see.
Okay, so this is just this Homer Simpson.
BAM is the show where professional animation artists redraw the art.
Okay, so
Okay, we have the first example.
yeah, this is a change in style, and obviously the one on the right is more striking. It's colored. It has light, shadow, I think, a few layers there. So it comes off on the page more. Not to say the one on the left is bad. In fact, that looks more realistic, but it just pops out more because of the color. I'm sure if it was the opposite, if the one on the right wasn't colored and the one on the left was, it would be like, oh yeah, I could see what's going on there. Look at the mouth. Like, what is happening? Is she like grinding her teeth?
And even the eyes are just like way too exaggerated, and that like ring around her eye as well.
Yeah, you're changing the art style. So as soon as you do that, it doesn't matter if it's a chick with a halberd or whatever. It's something completely different.
Yeah, like she looks like a sleep-deprived warrior female, while the other one is like just ready to fight.
Yeah.
The other one just looks like tired of it all. and like just like grinding her teeth over like, oh, she still has to do this again.
Yeah, and this
It's
could
entirely different. Like,
Oh,
change the character entirely.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
right, and this is just one facial expression. If you gave the one on the left a different facial expression, you can get the same emotion. So character design is more than just the face. It's about the pose. It's about the attitude. How do you express that feeling in a position? Because you're not animating it yet. You're just showing the layout or the silhouette. And that's why I love that that lineup of Cowboy Bebop, the 4 characters on the police lineup.
The opening sequence.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I don't know where it's from. It's from a piece of art from the company, I guess. And it shows the 4 characters on the police lineup and how it looks. And the way they're against the wall, like Jet is leaning it back with his head folded behind his hands. Spike is like, on this weird looking pose. You have Faye, and she's like hands on her hips. She's standing straight. And then there we have Ed doing a bunch of weird poses. So, and I think Ein's on there too. But it's that kind of thing. It's all about the character and how it looks by pose alone. And this pose is like, it's like, I gotta do this shit. That's why it's more expressive. Not to say the one on the left isn't, but how much more expressive do you want to be? Okay.
That you can. And if you like supporting that sort of thing, check out our Patreon linked below.
Let's start this off by creating an inherently bad character design. We'll begin with a messy silhouette, a confusing palette, and a bland generic everything else.
Wow, that stinks. Let's go ahead and completely cover this design in detail. That'll make it a nightmare to redraw again. And can you imagine those overseas animators actually trying to animate this?
Let's make sure all of these shapes have tangents too. No sense of 3D space whatsoever. And as a final touch, I'm never going to flip the canvas while I draw. So everything will lean awkwardly to one side.
It's like a bad version of a Final Fantasy character.
But they are doing commission for DeviantArt.
Oh yeah. So the ideas behind the art aren't bad. It's the combination of proportions, the pose, and the coloring, which are, well, in the bad art style, like the body and the face are just pretty poorly done. But if they had different proportions, body proportions, it would probably look attractive, minus the color palette. So the ideas themselves are fine. It's how they're drawn and how they're presented on the screen. This is a pretty flat looking character. There's no depth to it.
Yeah.
It's just figure. There's no form. So if he gave it some form, some depth of color, it might have something more to it. But other than that, it's a pretty silly looking design.
Yeah, ew.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All of these conflicting elements will confuse the viewer. They'll get caught up in this visual traffic and the story will disappear completely.
I could make a story from that character rather easily. It would be one hell of a weird story, but we can go with that. So he had a gauntlet on his hand that could be the sign of a technological place he's in. Maybe he's part of some royal court, so there's a monarchy. Maybe the king is crazy, so you have to dress like a lunatic. And I don't know. They're having a food shortage or something. He's very asphyxiated or emaciated rather. So you can work with this. It's just the style.
Looking over the rice fields.
I don't know. Yeah, something. You could work with all these ideas. It's just that the amount of effort to make that look attractive was not there. He just sort of threw something together. I will admit it's too busy though.
Good character design should be a seamless vehicle that drives the story forward.
I agree.
And everything about that character should be understood visually.
Yeah, see, this is great. We know the genie. He's got the golden cuffs, so he's chained to his lamp, and that's about it. He's a wisp kind of dude, got no body aside from the upper part, and he just transforms himself to random stuff. And he's blue. And bad guy, he's in black and red and yellow. And he's got a long face.
Yes, I would say that like the cobbler and the thief is even better of an example. But yeah, this is also like good too, because Aladdin was like mostly based on that animation.
Yeah, no, this is a very good design because we understand what it represents immediately.
Yes. And the shape language is like pretty consistent as well.
Yep.
In 1 second. Let's explore these 3 fundamentals and see if we can use them to create clear, readable characters that aid the story instead of hinder it.
When you strip down your character to just black, the rule is your character must be recognizable from that alone.
I would tend to disagree. There's plenty of characters in stories I love, which there's from a silhouette alone, you have no idea who these characters are. But that's kind of the point in detective stories. In the anime Monster, for example, all the characters are realistically drawn. There's nothing inherently special about them, and it's a mostly dark story anyway, visually. So there's no real opportunity to say that's a silhouette of this character or that character. In fact, one of the characters dresses up as one of the other characters, so you can't even tell what they're, you couldn't tell if they were faking it or not, if it's a real person.
I would really say that, like, for cartoons or like other mediums where you have like a hyper stylized art style, it's better to have like a more recognizable silhouette because you have like a chance to like deviate away from a style. But having like realistic characters, then it's very troublesome, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, I look at anime, and a lot of anime characters, or even in manga, not all the time, but they have what's called the exaggerated cowlick, or the, what's it called, hoge or hoga? I can't remember what it's called. But it's basically a tuft of hair at the top of the head that sticks up in a curl, or curls down. But it pops up for a bit, and then it curls down, or pops up a little bit. And that's to showcase whatever youth, I don't know, some symbol of the main hero. It's usually a female character, but you see it as a motif throughout all of manga as a whole, and subsequently into anime. So it's not a big deal, but it does say, oh, I know that character just from a silhouette alone because of that little piece of hair, because very few other characters have that. Sometimes it's 2. I've seen that on what was that show? Love Hina, I think. They did that a few times. Exaggerated 2 tufts of very thin hair.
There isn't a single famous character that doesn't follow this rule.
This submitted artwork is looking really good, but we can improve the design simply by examining the silhouette and separating some of these shapes.
This doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. How does that make it better based off silhouette? Why would you even
This
think?
is too drastically changing the character design, especially the neck. Is just why?
Why would you? The style is automatically different. You either respect the original design and concept, or you don't. And if you're going to say, oh, I can do that in manga style, it's like, yeah, so could I, but why? What's the point? You're changing his original concept to another interpretation, as opposed to just making the principle you were using and applying it. This is not what you do, at least to help someone with their design. Does that design look good?
Shapes are clear in silhouette, they'll definitely be clear in full color.
So what is happening? Is she a snake woman, or is she an octopus woman? It's like, I don't know. It doesn't look better. It looks much different.
It looks like unfinished because if you look at the head, it looks like it's the same head from the previous body, but the neck was just extended, so it looks like it's just on a stick or something.
And her arm
looks like detached, really.
Her arm is just sticking out because it was too lazily near her thigh.
Yeah.
So we have to have a better. It's like, that's a dumb rule. Why do you need that?
Oh, I think like the fixed version is going to be even worse, though.
Oh,
It is.
All of the most iconic character designs have a silhouette that's made of big identifiable shapes.
yeah, but if I don't know the characters, then I don't know what they look like. They're not iconic to me.
Is like long hair like a shape now?
I don't know. It just like if I don't know who Rocky and Bullwinkle are, like, I'm like, what is that? Is that a moose or a deer? Like, I have no idea. I've never heard of that cartoon before.
It's Justin Trudeau.
Oh, it's just yeah, okay. So iconic means memorable because you've seen it before.
Big shapes are going to visually communicate the personality of the character.
Batman's a triangle.
Using
Can we go back? Because like Batman is definitely not just a fucking triangle. That looks more like looks more like a square, really. Like because no, it's a rectangle. With like a wider top, but like, they're definitely not a triangle. Like what the hell?
I think they're just going off the cape. That's about it.
Oh, but even the cape is a rectangle more than a triangle.
When you see him in most of his shots, his cape is covering his front, so he's kind of looks like a giant, like I don't know, monolith just walking through the room.
Pyramid?
Pyramid? No.
And Batman is the pyramid head.
He's the Black Pyramid Man.
Pyramid head.
communicate the personality of the character.
Okay.
Using something called
All right.
Shape language.
Shape
Okay.
language.
Okay.
Interesting.
Like, this is already giving you a sense of stability, trust, and stubbornness.
No, looking at the Steven Universe design doesn't give me anything.
Stability is on the left. Stubbornness is on the right. I think, or is it all of them?
I don't really know.
Stability. What the hell is he talking about? The guy in the bottom right
I
is
see a
stable.
Game Boy.
The guy in the bottom right looks like he's gonna have a mental breakdown.
Yes.
The guy in the middle or the bottom middle is gonna break something. I'm a bit confused.
And the shape here, friendly, bouncy, soft, welcoming, warm, and happy.
What would you say? Okay, but how do you apply this to someone like Dr. Robotnik or Eggman? Because he's a fucking circle as well, and he's evil.
No, he's an egg.
Yeah,
he's an oval.
Well, look at these faces. If we could interpret the faces, some of them aren't even human faces, but the faces tend to be happy and smiley, right? So if you didn't have those happy, smiley faces, then what? Would they still be pleasant and because they're spheres or spheroids or I don't know, ovals of some kind, that therefore they're welcoming and soothing?
Oh yeah.
Can either of you guys name all these characters? Because I know I can.
Well, Kirby would terrify the shit out of me.
Kirby is the villain of his series.
He
really.
is absolutely the scariest creature. Like he could suck in anything, and I don't know where it goes. You're dead. Like you could spit you.
I
out.
really hate when people make that joke. Really?
I don't know. It's scary as hell. Like this guy could just cartoonishly suck in anything. You're like, okay. Some of these characters I don't even know. Winnie the Pooh. I mean, that art style, the animation style as well, is very realistic. So it's nothing. The animation is not quick. It's not action focused. It's people walking and walk cycles and sitting and talking and jumping around. It's not what you consider a typical animation these days. So Winnie the Pooh is pretty slow-moving storytelling. It's not the same concept as, let's say, a Star Wars or Kirby. And I'm not sure about Toad on the bottom left there. I'm not sure if that's just from a game specifically, or is there an animation? I don't know.
It is from. No, it's a game.
Yeah, I think it's the Mario Galaxy one.
Oh, okay.
No, it's Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
Oh, there's oh.
Yeah, the one-time Toad got a spin-off
Oh, really? Wow.
on the Wii U.
I've never heard of that. Never heard of that game. Holy crap.
and for good reason.
Okay. Fair enough.
That destroyed the Wii U's reputation forever.
And they never made another game about Toad ever again.
You say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Bouncy, welcoming, warm, and happy. And this shape has the sharpest corners of the three.
Yeah, okay, now you're literally framing everyone in a triangle, so no, I don't think that's right.
Sonic? A triangle? Like, he's more round than a triangle.
Why,
Really.
why Spider-Man?
Well, because he's Puerto Rican.
Well, there's two
Hey!
there's two understandings of a beauty in the face. It's the pointed chin for females as well as males. And when you draw people, or in general, the body shape is usually a triangle and another triangle. So the shoulders and the waist. So most human figures will be like that if your style is like that. But with Batman, he's got a look at that jaw. That's not a triangular jaw. That's a freaking square brick. Like what is that?
If you want
Can it be even more square-like?
Yeah.
really?
I mean, Smud, have you even seen the Crimson Chin?
The Crimson Chin, is that a character in Batman?
The nega chin?
No, not in Batman. In Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, really?
Someone look that up and put it in stream memes,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
You wanna see a brick chin? Look no further.
Okay. So I don't know what this character with the top hat who's a yellow triangle. I mean, okay, yeah, that is literally a triangle. You're right. He's got that
It's
one.
not Young Venus from Nuclear Throne.
Okay. But I guess that's what's her name from Wicked?
Maleficent.
Maleficent from Wicked, yeah. Or sorry. What is that from? I don't know.
Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty,
Probably,
yes.
Yeah. It just,
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty.
her chin is triangular because that's usually a sign of beauty with women and men, but it's fine.
But no, it's evil.
I could well, yeah, but I wouldn't say it's evil. It's just that's what you see with a lot of attractive characters in animation or adult or young adult stories. That's the look. But okay, I could say it's pointed, it's triangular, fine.
Implying things like edginess, danger, intensity, and speed.
Speed. So therefore Sonic? What? Okay. What is triangular about Sonic aside from his feet?
His quills, I guess.
Well, they're spiky, therefore they're triangles. Like, what?
Yeah, they're for edgy.
Yeah. So this is the original
I don't know.
design, which looks good. And let's see what he comes
Just
up
wait.
Even though this is a nice drawing, this artwork has a lot of conflicting shape ideas.
No, it doesn't.
We can improve this
No,
design.
it doesn't. Where are you getting these shapes?
It looks
Where are
fine.
you getting these shapes?
If you try really hard, like a previous example, then you can just like do the same thing as well.
I
with
could-
Batman
Are you-
especially.
Are you high, sir?
I could
This-
copy and
this
paste.
design looks fine.
Random shapes in Photoshop too. Anyone can do that. I could put trapezoids and rhombuses and dodecahedrons. I could do this, sir.
It looks fine. Elaborate, maybe. That's up to the individual person, but
Yeah, the
it
pose,
looks fine.
the pose is good. The coloring is good. The proportions are interesting. It's an attractive looking piece.
Yes, interesting.
By making shapes bigger and committing to the shape motif.
What the fuck is this? What the fuck?
Well, when you break down a 3D model from the 2000s, you'll get triangles.
Decrease resolution by 98%. What we got left? We got
Then we finally got OpenGL 2.0.
we got 20 polys. What are you gonna work with 20 polygons?
We're gonna increase it to 2000.
Yeah. Good. What is this? Where is he getting this? I don't know.
This is a bit of a stretch, yeah.
I'm thinking of Rayman, how Rayman has like no arms and legs. He's just like hands and feet and a head.
Oh yeah, well, at the
Well, that's
time they
the-
had to like spare the polygons, so
Yeah.
Yeah, but besides that, it was a very deliberate artistic choice anyway.
Right.
It's a unique design, to say the least.
That's what I'm trying to say is the style determines the structure. So he's just saying, I'm going to change the style, and now I'm going to change that structurally as well. You're like, yeah, that's what you're doing. You're changing everything. I can't believe he's doing this, but okay, fine.
Like, why do you think? Sorry, go ahead.
What I would want him to do is like say, hey, buddy, can you redraw this with this structure in mind, and please do it. And then I'd say, thank you. Then I'll make a video on that. Because if he's just doing it himself, it doesn't matter what the original guy drew. He's like, oh, a girl with a tail, and she's got a hat, and she's blue, and blah, 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 blah. You're like, okay, I'm going to use triangles. It's like, fine. What? Yeah, you could have used circles. It made no difference. It's going to be a different drawing.
You know what? Here's my example, and it might sound like a stretch, but there is a bit of a point I want to make. And it's like, obviously, like everyone here knows about Super Smash Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Hear me out. And obviously, it's like we know it now. It's like very like the whole cartoony like fighting game thing. It's like not many people talk about it, but Melee and Brawl tried to somewhat have the characters in at least as much of a singular style as possible. If you notice that some of them have like a more realistic detailing to match that intention. But then eventually in Smash 4 they decided, screw it, let's just have everyone keep their unique styles as they should.
I see what you're saying.
It's like they eventually decided, it's like, you know what, it's ultimately a better stylistic choice just to have everyone keep their intended style. Which is why it's just like everyone, you look at the only real styles that there are in Smash Brothers is within the individual franchises. Every character within a specific franchise obviously is going to have the same style. But overall, pretty much almost the entire roster, especially now, a lot of them pretty much look very much distinct. And that is something that you can appreciate from that. They didn't try to put everything together into a singular style. They put everything together to make everything clash on purpose, just to signify that this really is like a whole bunch of shit coming together.
Right. I can respect that. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motif of a triangle.
When we choose a shape motif, it reduces clutter and emphasizes the things we want to emphasize.
I'm going to try and make every shape some type of triangle.
Get that, but still.
By committing to an angular shape,
Oh my god!
this character.
There it is.
This is terrifying. What did he do? Why?
So they made the head bigger so that it covers more of the head. But,
What do you mean? What did he do? He fixed it.
This is.
Oh my god.
I don't even know anymore. What is this thing?
what have they done?
Oh man.
The face is completely ruined. It may as well be a different character.
Is she made of latex now? Like, look at like how shiny that skin is on the right.
I don't know, man.
And that mouth. What? No.
Is that a mask?
I don't know. It looks like a vacuum cleaner.
On the new one, it doesn't. It looks either like a mask or just part of her skull. You can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Why?
That kind of like questioning of the design really shouldn't happen in most situations unless you really are going for like a really out there design that is meant to make no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the
Otherwise, it's like, damn.
Even like how the outfit looks like more serious. I would say like left one is like a protagonist maybe, or like some supporting character. Right one is just downright a villain.
Well, on the left,
just from the eyes,
I can tell she was wearing a mask. Like her upper nose and up is a mask. On the right, I feel like the nose down is a mask, and her eye and her nose up is, I guess, the skin. Like, I don't know. It's just like, what is happening?
Yeah. Again, it looks like you can't tell if it's a mask. Well, it's still a mask. You can't tell just at face value. You can't tell if it's either the mask, like on the old one, or just like her skull without flesh.
Yes.
That kind of questioning of a design should not happen unless it's very specifically deliberate.
Plus, one of their rules was clarity, and I'm just like, what am I looking at?
That's the point I'm making. It's like with the face alone on the one on the right, there is no clarity. You don't know what that is.
And they
also the proportions are just
oh god,
off,
yeah, those. Well,
really.
that could be a stylistic thing. I could say fine, but look at the details are gone. The belts are generic. The tattoos are gone. The clothing is generic. The hat is
very,
super generic.
very oversimplified. Like
yeah.
too much.
I'm sorry to say the one on the left looks. Even the shading is better on the left. It's like it's line art. Look at the line on the left, like the leg. You see the dimension of the knee.
Yeah.
Then you see this simple gradation of color, and it's like, oh yeah, she's raising her foot forward. And
ironically enough, they made the tutorial in line art.
oh.
You can at least forgive Batman when they did it because they at the very least they made the attempt to stick to the original core of the original designs, and in my opinion, the season 4 designs are just that much better for doing that. This is just okay. You went too far in an extreme, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, it's two different styles and two completely different approaches, which I don't know. I don't think his argument is making much sense at this point. But fine, he based it off triangles or something. Okay, fine. Let's keep going.
Will read immediately as a dangerous femme fatale.
Are you joking? A femme fatale. What part of that is attractive? How is that seductive? She looks like she's going to die of something, like a necropolis or some sort of...
Yeah, or anorexic or something. I don't know.
That's not attractive.
God. Jeez, that is not. Maybe in a niche, but in general, no.
Maybe in the style of the world that they're in, she's female and therefore attractive. But the girl on the left is wholesome. It looks a little more healthier and younger, and the hair is, I don't know, bouncier? What's the word? Wider? She feels healthier. The one on the right looks just wrong.
Another example, and maybe they'll bring it up in the video, and I only remembered this today because, funny enough, Lore Runner started streaming it. Mega Man Zero.
Oh yeah.
In X series, you can clearly tell he's tall, he's bulky, he's armored. Zero's ready to kick ass from the way he looks.
Yeah.
And then the artistic style, and then the art change from X series to Zero series, he very clearly looks different. Obviously, in universe, he still looks the same, but to us, because of how the art style changed, because it's a game, you really can't. You can most definitely tell them apart. Oh, this one's from X. Oh, this one's from Zero. And that one for me kind of worked, but also kind of didn't.
I know what you mean.
Because the change was just drastic enough where it's like, okay, I can go with it, but I'm still indifferent to it.
Yeah, I remember seeing the original Zero, and was it X2 or X3? And it was X. Okay, and
X2 was the first time the modern design of Zero from X series debuted. In X1, he had less armor in X1.
Yeah, he looked way different. Yeah,
just smaller.
Yeah. So they changed the art style. They got a different animator or what have you. But okay.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is at the very least the Zero series design stuck close enough to what we know to be Zero that it wasn't that much of an issue for the transition.
Okay.
It was close enough to the original design where it wasn't too much of a problem. Here, on the other hand, it diverges way too much.
I'm trying to remember the art shift in the handheld, was it DS games for Castlevania? They did some research on who their supposed demographic was. So they went from the gothic style of
Aria of Sorrow?
Yeah, the two.
Because like GBA one was that, and then on DS.
Yeah, Dawn was DS.
Dawn of Sorrow, yes.
And they went to the
anime
softer
style.
Anime whatever style compared to the Kojima style, which was she's well known for doing the deep detailed gothic look. And I was like, why did they do that?
Hey, it's like, hey, in my opinion, it honestly worked.
Well, no, it wasn't
And it's-
bad, but compared to where it's coming from, like, it's coming from Castlevania Symphony, and you're like, okay, that's where we want to be always. Okay, we want to just keep doing more of those.
I will grant you that the transition there was more blatantly obvious because Aria was the last game in the old style, and then the direct sequel was anime-ish. In that case, it's more the transition is more blatant.
I know.
I will admit that, but yeah, the other two games on the DS benefited more from the art style change. It's just that from Aria to Dawn, it was just more or less kind of a whiplash. If that makes any sense in terms of the designs.
Yeah, I know. I miss Kojima's art style. I miss the Dracula X Chronicle style. Like, I miss that detailed gothic look, which is what
I really thought at the time that like they just fired, like the artist moved on to something else. But
I know.
apparently he's still around.
She's still
Possibly.
there. But they did their studies. They did their marketing research, and we gotta appeal to younger people. It's like, okay.
Say what you want about the Lords of Shadow series, at least they made the attempt to go back to the old style.
Okay.
Even though it's a reboot.
Yeah. More realistic.
They knew.
Yeah, it's like, say what you want about those games. At least they paid tribute to the old art style.
Yeah. Anyway,
if anything.
Man, hard to like that, because we're comparing apples to retarded apples. It's like, I don't know, man. It's what a weird thing to do. Like, if it was a bad drawing and he made it more attractive, I'd be like, oh, that looks better, because it actually looks better, not because of some bizarre triangular structure thing you were talking about. But
yeah,
the left has more technique, has more balance, it's more proportioned. It looks more attractive.
Yeah, this is indeed a very bad example of an art style change.
Yeah. Anyway.
You might think that big identifiable shapes can only work in cartoony art styles. But you'd be surprised how many more realistic art styles follow the same rule.
No. Are you stupid? What? It's a gigantic sword. How cartoony do you need to get?
Well, let's go back to the original PlayStation graphic.
Say what you want about the 7 remakes, more realistic art style. It's like, this is one of the many trappings of it being originally an anime-influenced art style. And it was definitely anime-influenced if you look up the actual Nomura art.
Oh, yeah. It was... Yeah, the original art is definitely, and the in-game stuff is more like chibi-like, really.
This is a very direct trapping of the old Nomura art style. It works despite that, but it's still a contrast.
Yeah, to say this isn't cartoony or exaggerated is like, dude, it's a massive hunk of metal. He's lugging around like it's nothing. It's ridiculous. It's always been ridiculous.
It still works, but it's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one. It was an inevitable side effect of Final Fantasy VII being remade. It was bound to happen inevitably.
Some of it I can wrap my brain around, but because you see this gigantic sword, like, even my friends are like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, it won't necessarily be a negative, but your eyes are still going to catch that regardless.
And he spins it like a top, and it's like, okay, that's too much. That's with his fingers.
Yeah.
Come on. Anyway.
Usually it occurs in the form of big clothing, hair,
or God.
Weapons.
I'm wondering what he tried to say about Batman. This is Batman, like the most iconic silhouette. It's like, yeah, it's Batman. It's like, what?
Yeah, most of these are not entirely realistic, dude. It's like, get your head out of your ass with that.
Yeah, in the Doctor.
How would you recognize that it's the Doctor?
Yeah, I have no idea.
All these stylized characters, like, unless you show it like this, because like every other character was like just silhouette first, and then you have to recognize. Of course, I'm gonna recognize Indiana Jones because of the whip and the cowboy hat, but
I mean, hey, I recognize Sora right off the bat just with the hairless, keyless silhouette.
Right,
So.
but we're talking about the style of Kingdom Hearts and how it's presented with the other characters who are also very simple. Even the Disney characters are very, like, they're straightforward. It's like, yep, there's Goofy, there's Mickey. It's like boom, boom, boom. You can identify them very quickly. But Mary Poppins, maybe. The Doctor, there's so many doctors. That could be any guy with like two giant. Like, imagine that's black, right? He's all in black, and you can't tell. He would have like two giant legs, and like
only like the Doctor Who super fans would really be the only ones to be able to identify it.
Is this guy from the 70s or the 80s? He's really old, right?
I think this is fourth.
Oh,
I think I can't remember. It's like I only know from ninth onward, committed to memory.
And you wouldn't be able to figure out much of the Doctors from the past 20 years. It like by silhouette alone. But these are not cartoon characters, so I don't know what he's trying to point out what this means. So
the only one you could really argue in regards to what you're saying is like I'm pretty sure at 10th, 11th, and 12th are so similar in design. They all have like a similar kind of suit. Maybe that one. It's like just if it were just the body without the head, you would have a hard time. Believe me. 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah. Okay.
Another way to improve silhouette clarity is to take the character's head and add a little weird shape that is unique to only them.
So, hair.
So it doesn't even matter because like it's not based on those base shapes anyway. So all of that thing can go out in the trash.
Yeah, just put random object on head. Like, why?
Oh, I wonder how that works.
Why can't you put it on any other part of their body? Why does it have to be the head? I don't. I'm not following this logic.
Yeah, no, it's very much loose.
All right.
Really useful design hack that helps identify them in a crowd and demonstrates the.
Why is that important?
What does that have to do with anything?
Brand recognition, maybe, but otherwise, no.
What does that mean? Like, who cares?
Direct facing.
There it is. That's the Hoge. I guess that's a joke about it. But yeah, it's the cowlick that just pops up in there. That's obviously an exaggerated one, but most main characters, female, even males, they do have a little pop up little strand of hair. That's exaggerated.
Character design works better if you can recognize them from just the silhouette.
These are Pokemon?
Yeah, Gen 1.
Yeah. Fine, but I don't know any, like 95% of these, so
I know pretty much. It's kind of sad that I know pretty much all of them.
I know, but like this is what I mean by if something's not iconic, it doesn't matter what the silhouette is.
If Matthias said apparently it's just to see the design only by the silhouette. Yeah, like we get it, but it's not enough for taking an entire story.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, for like Pokemon, they don't really have much of a story for most of the time, other than like showing these characters that like, hey, look at this design.
Right.
Okay, they're gonna fight, and that's it.
If you guys ever study drawing, even in high school, if you ever did, or if you go to university, what have you, there are courses you can take called form and figure drawing. Figure is the silhouette. It is the outline. And you will spend, if you do nudes or if you do other body poses, this and that, you'll do 3-second poses, 6-second poses, 20-second poses with the model, and you're just sketching as fast as possible just to get the vibe and the overall look of the body. When you do form drawing, then you're talking about dimension, you're talking about the shape, you're talking about the shadow and the light. That's where you spend your time. So you get one pose and the guy holds it for 10 minutes and you go, okay, great. I'm gonna paint you or I'm gonna draw you. So these are basic lessons in drawing. I don't know why he's so focused on the silhouette of a character, because that could just mean how you perceive the character, and that could be anything. It doesn't need to be silhouette. It could be a scarf. It could be like Sora. It could be his big shoes. It could be his spiky hair. There's all kinds of things that draw you to a character that have nothing to do with color or form. So
I remember it was brought up when I watched a video of Team Fortress 2 and like how they have the character design. Because like at one point they introduced the system where you could like customize the character's look by cosmetic items like hats or like other things that you can put on the character.
Right.
But they wanted to
yes.
like keep the art style still the same, so the silhouette wouldn't deviate too much from the original ones. And since like all 9 classes of Team Fortress 2 are very distinct from each other, they just only accepted like cosmetic items from the community that doesn't derive too far from that.
Yeah, and part of the uniqueness of the designs was at least partially a gameplay decision. Just so that you can, even from at a distance, you can recognize, oh, look, oh, watch out, that's a heavy with a medic ready to pop over.
Yes. Or a soldier or demo man, yeah. Because all of them have like a different posture as well. So.
Yeah, and now, especially now, with how many, funny enough, with how many gameplay styles per class there are now, with all the experimentation the community has done with all the 9 classes, it's like, they're especially more recognizable now more than ever.
I would say posture or attitude, whatever you want to call a pose, is what he's trying to say. The action pose, the attitude, the vibe, that's what I get when I look at some of these characters. Like, okay, they're about to jump at you, or they're doing some sort of pose. That's
yeah, indeed. If like all of them were in like an idle animation or like just a T pose, I doubt any of us would recognize them.
Exactly. And some of these aren't even humanoids, so they have to have characters. We can't identify with the frickin' like, look at those 2 circles in the middle, bottom right. It's like, what the hell are those?
Voltorb and Electrode.
Yeah, but
I can't tell.
The sun.
I can't
which one?
Yeah. Well, one evolves into the other. I usually can't remember which is which off the top of my head, but they
one has a bump over the other one.
Well, I think that's supposed to be like the flesh of the eyebrow.
Oh, of course.
Okay. Anyway.
I believe it's Voltorb first and then Electrode.
Okay.
Hands look bad? Improve the silhouette.
No, this is
there's
wrong.
a certain pose where you can't improve the silhouette. They're going to like be next to each other. There's no way.
When you draw a hand, there are so many angles and perspectives that you can draw it. It's not supposed to look perfect. It's supposed to be based off the perspective you're coming from. The
shading says so much about where each finger is.
Right. What was that quote by Picasso? It's like the human head is not an oval. It has various shapes depending on what perspective you're taking.
Yeah.
Same with the hands. They're very complicated objects to draw. There's not one way to draw a hand. And even if it looks like you're looking at your fingers straight on, that's still a hand. Draw that. That's how you draw. That's how you learn to draw things from different perspectives. That's all it is how you draw from a different perspective. Oh my goodness. This is not, I get what he's saying, but this will only help you part way in drawing a better looking hand.
Look bad? The silhouette. Pose is whack? Improve the silhouette.
That's the same thing. The pose is this. Oh my. Anyway.
Yeah. Again, it's perspective.
Your character, reduce it to just black, and double check which shapes you can push to make it more iconic.
See that makes no sense to me. What is it? What is an iconic pose? Is it hands on hips and like chest out? Like what? Is it T posing? Like what? Reclining against a chair? Like what? I want you to draw me iconically. Okay. Has to be more iconic. I want more icons.
Again, you can to bring the Smash comparison earlier. If you take a silhouette of every single character up to now, black out the silhouette, and put them all in a T-pose, they literally all look distinct from one another. Anyone that knows what they're getting into, they can pretty much name every single one right off the bat. They're that distinct, hence my point earlier about they threw any unified style out the window in favor of having everything be as unique as possible based on the individual franchises.
Okay, well, not the greatest tip, but he's missing the point. He's sort of dancing around what he's trying to, or what the objective value of what a pose and what a silhouette means. But that's fine. Visually, he can draw. That's fine. He knows enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For clarity of palette, don't use too many colors. Be selective.
I agree.
Choose a color hierarchy, meaning one color is the dominant one, and the other colors should support it without competing. This fan-submitted artwork has a lot of competing colors. This blue and this turquoise are both cool colors.
So?
Without line art, how can I tell where the ear ends and the dress begins?
What kind of dumb... Why would you... What stupid shit is... If you take out all the lines, where do colors and body parts form? It's like, no shit. If you take out all the lines, it's just a massive color. What?
Take out all the lines, you have a 3D model.
I don't even... This is dumb.
I agree. It has too many colors. Like it should have like less. So it has like a palette.
It is a messy design. I agree.
It just looks ugly.
Yeah.
Plain simple.
I don't think color is the problem.
Hell no.
If we turn the dress into a warmer color, it becomes the dom.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I was hoping that this section of the video would make more sense because like the first sentence was the most logical one throughout the 6 minutes.
Let me rewind that. Oh god.
How can I tell where the ear ends and the dress begins?
If we were to turn the dress into a warmer color, it becomes the dominant color that complements the blue instead of competing with it.
You think that fuchsia complements ultramarine blue? Are you joking? That's a contrast. That's not a compliment.
Oh.
It's gonna burn your eyes out. Yes, after that everything is complimenting.
Why don't we have like bright yellow? Like that yellow is not big. It's like a big giant yellow bow on the top of her head. It's just complement the blue and the fuchsia. Yeah, that's great. Oh.
Still looks ugly.
But wait, color is more complicated than that. What about value?
On a new layer, fill the entire canvas white and...
This is a Photoshop tutorial? Okay, cool.
Okay.
I guess so.
I was like, what?
It's been years.
It's been a few years, but I know layers. Yeah, I can love
I know what the fuck I'm doing.
Fill box.
What?
Set the layer to color. This way you can toggle the layer on and off to double check its value, which is basically the brightness of any given color.
That's great.
Now we can see what the real issue is. This design is unclear.
This design is shit. Thanks.
Because all the values are very similar. Let's select some of these.
Are you joking me? You're trying to tell me the hue of black is all the same. You're like, what? What if the hair was yellow and this dress was red, as you pointed out before? How is that the problem then? The intensity of your hues are too similar, guys. So when you have a light source, you're doing 3D modeling, you can't have the same hue of two different objects. It's not going to work.
God damn it.
Damn you, natural lighting techniques. Why, world, why do you only give me bright white light to work with? Why can't I have two different light sources? Oh, no.
Shapes and hit U to adjust the value of them.
An even more precise tool would be the color balance menu under Command B. This allows you to adjust the color on a more fine-tuned level.
Oh my god.
If you have a background, check the colors against the environment. Don't just paint your characters on white.
Apparently, Mr. Who said it to you, Smud. Complementary colors are pairs of colors that contrast with each other more than any other color, and when placed side by side, make each other look brighter. Claude Monet.
Complementary or contrasting?
Complementary
That guy's an impressionist. Of course he's crazy. Don't worry about it. Have you seen a Monet before?
No.
Okay.
I do not know what the Cloud Monet is.
If you look at a Monet, and you're going to tell me those are contrasting or complementary. You can't have both. Artists are known for drawing beautiful things. They're not very good with the left side of their brains. So no, I disagree, Mr. Monet. It's either complementary, it's contrasting, or it's a complete cut of color or differences.
You are stupid, therefore you are wrong.
This is not hard. He would not be a good art teacher. But anyway, that's fine. That's cool.
Characters rarely stand in a bright white room. If you don't have a background, do your design against a midtone. That way your lights and darks will actually stand off.
That's good advice. I agree. Oh no, he's changing it. What's happening? He's got the Robin Hood music going. Oh, that looks good.
Okay.
Oh, see, that's better because the other one was so hideous. So any style would probably do better. But
Yes.
but the reason why this is better, aside from the simplicity, is the pose. Look at the pose.
Yes, the pose is saying so much.
It's communicating her personality. That's what's not the hair or the color or this. She could have bright fuchsia. I don't care. Give her any color you like. It's the pose. The dress just makes it pop better. Anyway. Yeah, so we got body portions, perspective. I'm looking at my little mannequin dude on my desk there. It's great for drawing if you want to get a proper position of the body.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's the only problem I see with the one on the left is portions. The body proportions are a bit off. And the one on the right is more stylized. Look at the neck. I don't know why he likes long necks. That's weird. But fine, that's his style. Look at the hands, the wrists, the fingers, the exaggerated dress, like how they Elizabethan times wore dresses that way. So it looks like they got this gigantic ass. They're sort of leaning down, like, oh yeah. So there's all this character being expressed in the pose on the right, in comparison to the pose on the left, which is just kind of boring and straight. That's what I get. And obviously, the line art on the right is clearer, it's more bold, and it's cleaner as well. So.
In the original artwork, many of the values compete, and the character doesn't really stand off the background. By making the values of the objects in the distance lighter, we can establish atmospheric perspective. This will create more contrast between the...
See, this pose is not very good, but it's not supposed to be. It's just she's watering flowers. You don't have to go crazy. Now, she could have been leaning over and bending over, stretching, and that would have been more interesting. But it's fine. I don't mind.
Foreground and the back. A value structure like this will make the foreground read clearer.
That background is obnoxious, but I get what he's trying to say.
I'm really on the fence with it because it's using very faint colors for the background to make it so it's very far away, but at the same time it's still it's just too much.
Yeah, the colors
it should have less colors.
Too bright. It's like just here's a rainbow of secondary colors. It's too much. Yeah, you're right.
I don't really understand why that Mario element is necessary in this image.
Yeah, get rid of the block.
I know that the reference model that they used was Princess Peach, but
yeah, honestly, get rid of that block. It'd look a lot better.
Yes.
It's just sort of hanging there. Why?
Hey kids, have you ever heard of the 1-point perspective?
Oh my God, have you heard of Super Mario? Bet you have.
Character palette is
Here's a furry.
Oh, see, this is good. This I like. Okay.
similar to Silhouette in that a well-designed palette.
What is that? Smurfs?
Smurfs?
Yeah,
The Smurfs, yes.
Oh, this is good. I like this.
is totally
Sailor Moon.
Yes, you're right. Because of Sailor Jupiter. Ha ha ha.
recognizable rectangular swatch.
Bert and Ernie.
Ernie and Bert, yes.
Yeah. Ernie and
I'll
Bert.
never forget Ernie and Bert. Yeah.
Swatches alone.
Come
The
on,
Rangers.
come on, you could say it.
What do you think?
I was waiting.
I'm just like, what do you think this is?
Clearly, it's the Teletubbies, obviously. Yeah.
I was gonna let you guys guess this one because I obviously know what this is.
Yeah.
I was raised on these guys. Of course, it's the Power Rangers, the originals.
All right.
I mean, actually, technically, you could say Zeo as well, but
This is, I know this one.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, what'd you say?
No, go ahead.
I know this show. I just don't, the names escape me.
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead, there you go.
There you go, yes.
Yeah.
Family Guy.
Yes, you're right.
I thought it's The Simpsons.
No,
It was
well,
Meg.
the Simpsons are yellow.
Meg gave it to me, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, on this point, he's right. Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, for sure.
On this he's right though, because like the main identifiers of the color palette is like really
Yeah.
it lends to knowing what the character in question are.
It's the simplicity of having, this. He said there's a primary that's the focus, and there's these minor ones that are just additional or secondary. And you think of Scooby-Doo, no problem. He's got the collar. Who's the guy in the middle again? I know he has that sailor sort of shirt thing going for him.
It's Fred, and it's called an ascot.
Ascot. Oh, the ascot.
You say you struggle to remember what it is, and that's kind of an in joke nowadays with Scooby-Doo.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Okay.
like, I think it was Mr. Incorporated. They keep joking. It's like, oh, it's a cloth or a scarf or something. It's an ascot. I remember that much, but yeah.
I don't think I've ever worn one of those, but yeah. Anyway,
The combination of a good
South Park.
silhouette and a good palette.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
This is Star Wars.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. I had to think of R2D2. I was like, that's R2. Yeah, it's R2D2. I was confused on the gold. What the hell is the gold thing? Like, oh. Anyway.
I mean,
Equals
let's see if they
extreme.
do any more and then just rewind to hear what they're saying.
Yeah, this one's great.
Yeah, that's obvious. That's Simpsons right there. It's pretty fucking obvious. That's partially why they were made yellow in the first place. It's like the whole intention was like if you're flipping channels and then on the off chance you see the Simpsons on screen, it's like, hey, it's the Simpsons.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the whole point of them making them yellow.
Okay.
Winnie the Pooh and pals.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
I'm assuming it's SpongeBob.
No shit.
Well, he doesn't have his tie, so it's not red. So I was like, where's the tie?
But still, in this specific situation, it's like, yeah, it's very obvious.
It's a giant caramel bar.
Yeah, with this particular method of recognizing characters, it's like SpongeBob was kind of made with that in mind,
Yeah.
a little bit. So yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's easy.
well, then say it.
Dexter. It's Dexter.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's been a while since I watched Dexter, but that looks like Dexter. Yeah. Oh.
It is as if it isn't obvious enough.
Oh boy. It's T. Okay, that's okay. So the color is okay. Michelangelo's orange. Yeah.
Yeah, the turtles. Yeah, of course it's the turtles.
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo. Yeah, that's pretty close. Oh
my
jeez.
I know it's the McDonald's mascots. Ronald McDonald, Grimace,
Hamburglar, and what's the
Yes.
one? What's the third one?
the duck. I don't remember her name, but I know on the right is Grimace,
Yeah, for sure.
aka Thanos. Remember, hey, the MCU made that joke first. Don't blame me.
Okay.
The
In
choices of your
Infinity
color
War.
palette are important as well. Certain colors evoke certain moods.
I like all this so far. This is pretty good.
The color
Yeah, he's
language
right on
is
this so
telling us
far.
a lot about these characters. For example, we associate yellow with joy and happiness.
Friendship, urine, and and jaundice. I don't know. Pick some.
Well, in terms
Bile?
of well, I mean, he is kind of right here in terms of like the emotional spectrum. Yellow does invoke more of like a happy, joyous feel, kind of.
It's a soothing color. Yeah, we think of colors why we design things certain ways, like traffic lights. Like, why is stop red? Why is the stop sign red? It's a warning you. Red is when you look at the sun, it burns your eyes. Like, oh, be aware. And it's either compared or contrasted with a white or a black. Same with the hazard symbols, the black and yellow or black and white or white and yellow. It's to contrast this big sign or something is dangerous. Be careful. So
Usually black and yellow.
yeah,
It's almost always black
very,
and yellow.
very
And it's
contrasting colors. Exactly.
yeah, a very specific combination of colors to signify danger,
Black,
caution.
white, yellow, and red, I would say, are the four major ones.
Green give you a feeling of safety, while red might feel dangerous and sexy.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not going to say no to that, but yeah, there's many associations you have with certain colors. But I would say you put Jessica Rabbit in black. She's just as sexy, so it's, it depends on what you're doing with your character there.
However, color language is not as clear as shape language. Yellow might give you a really happy feeling, like sunshine, or a really sick and diseased feeling, like jaundice.
If you take a look at the globe, countries closer to the equator are going to have more colorful clothing
All
and
right.
artwork,
Sure.
Okay.
while countries closer to the pole
Eskimos.
Don't remember asking.
Eskimos have boring colors. Okay.
will have muted clothing and
What's this? What's going on?
artwork.
Meat?
Okay.
There's a plate of meat. What the hell?
Closer to the poles.
Okay, now
will
I'm
have
just like, where are they going with
Is
this?
that
Even meat, its color is
the
different.
meat is
Oh,
boring?
it's ahead of a cow.
Norway has boring meat. It needs more color in their charcuterie and their slippers.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, no pun intended. Okay, I'll bite. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And you get the
Or meat.
religious.
muted clothing and artwork.
Oh my god, this is muted? Are you serious? Shawls
Ew.
that elaborate or
Not
muted?
really.
You can see that in Middle Eastern traditions as well. I'm trying to think of like cuisine, but I probably should think in terms of regions, but Turkish cuisine, women wore those shawls, but so did Ukrainians and Russians and all kinds of ladies over the years. They wore shmatkas of various design for various reasons. So
Mm-hmm.
Color can act as a signifier of the environment that the character comes from.
and how is Mr. Avatar Wind? Well, it's colorless, so I don't know what's the point of it. I get
But
the
like-
other colors, yeah.
Ang is pretty much the
Well,
same color palette
White
almost as the
tends to
Fire
be
Nation.
represented.
Yeah.
White tends to be represented usually by either green or white. That tends to be,
Yeah.
in this case, white, because green is taken by Earth. So
Yeah, okay. I'm not. It's not stupid when you have four elements and it's like, okay, the other one is this guy. It's like, fine, I can do a process of elimination.
Well, I mean, from my experience, within the context of the Avatar universe, it does tend to work. It does work. So
I'm okay with the monk look. It's fine.
yeah,
In other words, color tells a story.
Thank you. That's
But
true.
how can I make that story more meaningful?
Okay, this is where I'm a little confused because exaggeration is used in many forms. Usually just means description or detail of a thing. So if you want like a girl with like the ahoge, you know, I said it was like a little tuft of hair. It's exaggerated to be really tall or really long, and it pops up, which is silly. And why they do that, I don't know, but that's a stylistic choice that a lot of artists do these days. But I think there was this animation about a guy. This is an old animation of a guy throwing a javelin, and there's this dude with one giant arm, and the rest of his body is just plain and normal. He's about to throw a javelin.
That sounds familiar.
Either it was an animation or it was some sort of folk tale. I can't remember what it was. Could have been both.
It sounds familiar. I can't. Yeah, it sounds familiar. I can't
So
remember either.
When you have that sort of exaggeration, that's the point of the story. That's like you're supposed to exaggerate, so it showcases this guy's strength in doing that one job. But things like giant arms and stuff like that is like, okay, how is this making sense? Is this part of the world? Is it magic? Is it technology? Is it genetics? What is happening here? So there has to be a story supporting that. So when it catches your eye, like, why does this guy have a gigantic head? You know, what's the story behind? Was it MODOK? The Marvel character. His body is basically a gigantic head.
Yeah.
So what's the case?
Yeah, that usually. Well, the story behind him tends to be that it was like a freak accident during an experiment or something.
Right. There's some radiation, maybe. There could have been an accident with an experiment. Yeah, we're not sure, but there has to be a reason behind things like that. So that's why, if you describe something like that, does the exaggeration need to exist, or are you just doing a good description? So don't think in terms of exaggeration. Think in terms of, why are you telling the audience? Why are you showing the audience this? And what I like about poses is you can exaggerate a pose in cartoons all the time. And a lot of animators do that, even though they know it would not exist in reality. There was a League of Legends animation. I can't remember what it was called. One of the first ones. Not one of the first, like one of the better ones, rather, that was early. And they showed Twisted Fate. He's a dude with a long coat and a hat. And he throws cards. And one of his motions was to spin and throw his cards out. And the animator was like, well, in this spin, he's actually snapping his back. Like physically, if we were to show the spine of the bone, his back is breaking. But because it's so fast and he spins, you can't really tell. So that is just his understanding of a body, even though it's completely a tune, it's completely animated and cartoony, that even that has over-the-top animation in 3D. So exaggeration is not the key thing. It's detail. Like, why does the detail of, let's say, Cloud Strife's sword look the way it does? And we know it has 2 slots. And why does it have 2 slots? The gameplay mechanic, the materia. You could put 2 materia things into his sword. And I think in the remake...
Is it that?
I think it's 2, yeah. And in the remake, they actually show the material you put in. I don't know. Is that the case? I can't remember. If you put like a fire material, it'll pop right in. You'll see it on your character. Or on the sword on your back. So that's the kind of detail I'm referring to. Like, it has a function. There's a reason you give us detail, whether it's a video game, or it's a Chekhov's gun, or it's the way they sit, the way they talk, the way they walk. So you explain to the audience, this is the way this guy is. This is why this guy is the way he is. This is why he's wearing these clothes. This is why he smokes, yada, yada, yada. So it's detail and description. For cartoon, that's another story, because you're talking about exaggeration, like a big hump or a big head of hair or long legs or one big muscular arm or whatever. So anyway.
This is the hardest to explain, but it is the most powerful step of the character design process.
In a nutshell, your job as an artist is to interpret reality through the lens of being human. You're a human, and you make art for other humans. Therefore, you should aim to create something that connects emotionally to the viewer's core human instincts. The The artist has the ability to strip down detail, push the proportions, and bump up the color to connect the viewer directly with the feeling that
I don't think they're pushing the proportions outside of making the face more animated. That's about it. Everything else seems okay. Maybe the claws, they're more... But that's any typical Disney thing. Even Michelangelo did that with the Statue of David and other things. They made the hands bigger, the face and head bigger slightly. So, like that's what, like, you can't just say exaggerate the torso of a lion. It's like, why would you do that? That's kind of silly. You do the extremities. You do the heads, the feet, the fingers.
a character gives. Which of these do you connect with more? One is more realistic, but which one's emotion reads clearer?
Obviously, the left
Designing
one.
characters with simple, easy-to-read features will allow us to see that character's emotion more easily. We have
That's me? Oh. Okay. Man, I identify with this guy so well.
You just got doxed.
This is
Yeah, I wouldn't go this far in terms of like the simplicity aspect of this argument, but in a way you can kind of extrapolate some kind of sense out of this.
Well, I'd hate for this to be my avatar in my RPG, but yeah.
Maybe.
This is the concept behind
Enough.
the manga style, the simplicity to convey emotion or opinion or feeling or whatever. That's why we have it, and you have the exaggerated eyes, the size and shape, and how emotive they are, how big they are, how wide they get when someone's excited or angry.
Would you say Batman is a decent example of that?
Batman's eyes are almost magical in that the cowl covers his facial expression, but because of the whiteness of the shape of the eyelid, that's where we get the emotion from. So you could argue the details of the brow comes out of his cowl as well at times, but usually it's in the dark, and he has those magical glowing white eyes that scare the crap out of people. And they're usually just triangles. They're not specifically shaped a certain way. So.
Well, yeah, I meant also, in addition to that, I meant just more so like the expressions in general because of the way the art style was built. It's like you can definitely, you can very clearly see the emotions being expressed by the characters more obvious.
I think the example of Spider-Man's magical mask is also a good example. In the animations or even the cartoons, they really showcase those gigantic white eyes that change shape very easily and very exaggeratedly. So that's a great example of emotion for a mask because it's so big.
Yeah, right. We get the real that's when the really big came in.
All right. That was the most robotic you've ever been. We're in Hong Kong right now. I'm going to change the server because that was off. All right, let's try Japan. No, let's not try Japan. Let's try Europe. Okay. And we're back.
Guten Abend.
Guten Tag. Hey, how you doing, Ginga? You okay? Ginga. Ginga. Are you there, Ginga?
Am I good now?
Oh, there you are.
Yes, much better.
Awesome. What were you saying, sir? We totally missed you the past 30 seconds.
No, I'm just saying it's like you're right about like the old like the way Peter emotes through the mask like in the early days. But if you want to talk about the really, really big eyes that we got later, it's like we got those from when Todd McFarlane was drawing the books.
Ah. Well, he did a great job drawing Spider-Man in general, so.
Oh, it's like I can definitely appreciate him going out of his way to put that as much detail into the webbing as he did.
Yeah.
And he was told several times to not do that, and he went out with it anyway. And that's pretty much the detail in the webbing that we have today.
Yeah, I know. No, Todd was great. Todd loves his detail, and not just in the wide shots. I remember all the close-ups were just awesome. I love all his work he put in.
Yeah, and say what you want about Spawn. It's like the detail on Spawn is at the very least unique, if not pretty it's at least above average in my opinion. Spawn's
for
just
sure.
general Spawn's design.
Yeah. All
It's
right.
very elaborate, but at the same time consistent.
All right. We're 10 minutes past the halfway mark. Doing great. Okay.
So far, yes.
Empathy for characters that we can project ourselves onto and put ourselves into their shoes.
Scott McCloud calls this the masking effect.
A good character designer is a world-class observer. They pay attention to how a real person or animal makes them feel and focus in on the specific characteristics that amplify that feeling. And because an artist controls 100%
Not sure about that one. What was it?
Was that really the inspiration
that
for
amplify
Spike?
that feeling. And because an
Yeah.
No,
This
this
is,
one.
This is, I don't know what's going on here.
I think. Well, they are kind of, well. Those are the Beatles, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's
Well,
raining.
yeah, that is the inspiration for the Vultures. I can't remember the movie, but that is the Vultures, or the whatever they are.
Jungle Book.
From Jungle Book, yeah, that they were the inspiration for that group of characters. That I do remember.
What did they do? Just sit around and talk to each other?
And yeah, it's like they I mean, well, they're based on the Beatles not just in design, but to a certain extent, personality as well,
Okay.
which does help the reference as well as the homage to the inspiration.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
artist controls 100% of the screen space.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's the one Mark was talking about.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was like
I can
almost
see-
afraid that he's gonna show the Netflix adaptation.
Oh, my God.
He's showing the original inspiration for Spike's design. The very original inspiration.
Oh, thank God.
I can see it. I can definitely see it.
Yeah.
Spot on, to say the least.
Well, yeah, you know. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Well, is it coming out this week or next week? When's the due date on that thing?
I don't remember exactly when.
I thought it was this month for sure, but I didn't know when.
It is relatively soon, at the very least, I think.
Oh, boy. Okay.
We'll see how they fucked it up.
Well, there might be some redeeming qualities. I just don't think it's going to outweigh the positives, unfortunately, or the negatives.
We shall see. Anyway.
Yeah.
Every detail will strengthen the feeling that they want you to read. Which
I
means
thought Betty Boop was based off, what's that female young girl singer-dancer in the 20s and 30s?
Wasn't that her?
Shirley Temple. Am I wrong?
Maybe
I could be wrong. So this is an old...
if at all, if at all, at least partially.
Yeah.
Maybe in the personality wise, a little bit.
Perhaps. Yeah.
I don't know.
you to read. Which means animation can be more powerful than live action.
No,
That wasn't live action though, because they did use CGI to make whoever that guy is wider.
Wider?
Yes, it's CG.
is that true?
He's not.
Yes, it is true.
He's not wide enough. Let me Google search that. I won't do it now. I'll just do it later.
That's really the joke with that scene. It's not just that he's shirtless. It's that they use
What
CGI.
is the
Really.
actor's name? God damn.
Adam
Driver.
Adam Driver. Yes. Really, they really did use CGI. You're not playing with me.
So I heard. I'm looking up as well.
That'd be some really weird shit if that's true.
All right, we'll check it out later. It's okay. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going.
The pose. Yes, thank you. This is what we should be talking about. Forget exaggerations.
Yeah, just-
All about the pose.
Yeah, we
Pose,
literally
not
did just talk about
exaggeration.
this earlier.
Is your character feminine or masculine? Extroverted
Is he Jesus? and doing a T pose.
Well,
Jesus and T pose is not a good combination.
I don't know if the joke about T-posing came from those depictions of Jesus, or maybe it's just I don't know if the depiction of Jesus in like those statues or images had anything to do with the term T-posing in gaming, but I don't know.
Yeah.
or
It'd be funny if it is.
lazy.
The Buddha is lazy, guys. Just, our God stands in a T-pose. Yours lays down.
I mean,
That's great.
Or focused. A standard human body is capable of telling the story with pose alone.
I agree. No,
In a
don't
way-
stop. No, that was the whole... That's
now
such a big topic. Oh my God, dude, you're missing... Oh, come on. Character design is all about the pose.
Yeah, essentially one of the biggest factors in all of this, and you just glossed over it.
It's like, here's Jesus, here's the Buddha. Yeah, two big characters. Who cares? Let's keep going. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just like, like he touches on it. It's like the body can tell a story all on its own, depending on the pose. It's like, okay, you're going in the right direction,
Yeah.
and then he just diverts away from it.
It would have connected so better if he combined it with his figure silhouette thing, which is very important too. But oh, dude, it's like he's got the goal and he just passes it off. It's like, no.
I think this right here, body variety, could very well have just been part of the posing segment, because those two things do go hand in hand.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you design
Well, let's see.
don't just use the normal proportioned textbook anatomy for everybody.
Why not?
Oh yeah, anime and comics do that all the time.
This design approach doesn't use the full range of possibilities that the
Okay, so he's talking about having body types of different styles. It's fine. But focus on the basics first. So get a typical mesomorphic figure, draw them, and say, how could I draw them dynamically? What's a dynamic pose with standard bodies? Like not too big, not too thin, not too fat, etc., etc. Just get the basic for that. Then, once you understand that, then you say, what if he had a larger hand or a larger arm or a wider body? Then you could play around with that. So I think understanding basic proportions and poses and action scenes and walk cycles and how the muscles look, how the breasts look, how the head looks, how the hair moves, all that stuff. Then you go to different body types.
And all that, I just thought of this now. All that pretty much is what went into the development process behind The Incredibles.
Really? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's like when they were developing The Incredibles. It's like they had done human, they had done human stuff, but but compared to the later stuff, it was very archaic in the early days. Like the kids in Toy Story, all the kids were just like slight modifications of Andy's model.
Yes, because they didn't have time to make a new one.
Yeah, but once Brad Bird came into play for The Incredibles and they realized what they had to do for that, it's like it was going to be an all human cast for the first time in their repertoire, and it's like once they had the main cast out of the way, well, actually, no, not even the main cast. Like they had the basic human models, and then they went into the process of body variety so that they could have all the crowd shots that are in like at the start and the end of the movie. Like they literally took the base models and started messing around with them to get as many variations on them as possible, to have like a variety of different models of people. You could say they did it out of necessity.
I'm just looking at Captain America's left leg, and it's just bothers me somehow. Like it feels so natural how long that tie is.
It seems longer, right?
Yes, like he has been working out. He doesn't skip like day.
Just doing those lunges, that's his exercise. Just lunge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the era of the 60s, that whole like standard basic concept of art style that Marvel especially used, like there were obviously imperfections here and there. That was inevitable.
All right.
But they still managed to make it work.
I do like the difference between Vampirella and Wonder Woman. It's like, oh yeah, I could tell them apart. Pretty good.
Yeah, they definitely, both DC and Marvel were able to make a good amount of distinction between all of the characters. You're gonna appreciate that, especially now.
Yeah. Is this Ditko?
I believe this was probably Jack Kirby.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. It could be multiple.
Cap. Yeah. Oh, I think at least Cap is definitely Kirby. That's definitely the Kirby style with him.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Medium advantage allows. There are so many different body types in the world.
Okay. Yeah.
Take a look at this weightlifter.
Well, I mean,
versus
yeah,
this basketball player. Humans have the same.
That's a weightlifter? Maybe I've been watching too many Olympic Games, but that's a weightlifter? Holy crap.
I guess in the lowest weight class.
Yeah, 5'1". Weightlifters, they're freaking tanks. They are female butchy girls. They're holy crap. They're scary looking women. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm all for cute looking girls that can lift weight. Nothing wrong with that. Wow, I didn't know that was a weightlifter. Okay, cool.
Core structure, but vary wildly from individual to individual.
Look at that spine on the right. It's funny.
No, that's just
What kind
that's
of
just
utility
the posing.
does their body have? A body is a reflection of the mind within.
Okay, that's a weird way of putting it.
And also misspelling the word.
Utli. What is utlity?
Utlity.
Utlity. Utlity.
Utlity.
Welcome, cousins,
Okay.
to Utlity.
Or utlitu.
Oh boy.
To observe,
I'm just like, what the
reflect,
hell is your guys saying?
exaggerate that utility using shapes and pose.
That's not bad.
That's good. Yeah, I like it.
Let's
Heavy
exaggerate this
styling.
Yeah.
submitted design by Joel.
Okay.
We like this drawing because there's clearly a goofy interaction here. We just think the actual designs are a bit generic. And we want to
No,
keep the same
no, they're
poses
fine.
and same art style, but exaggerate the body
what are you
types
please,
and amplify
go
the
back.
story more.
No.
First of all, Joel, watch out for these tangents here. They flatten the drawing a lot. It's hard to tell
What's
that the
with the
demon is behind.
tangents?
What are you talking about? What do you mean it flattens the drawing? You mean there's not enough contrast? Okay, yeah, it's the color gradient's the same in the background as is in the foreground, sure. But all you do is just darken the background or fade out the background and bring out the foreground. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, it's fine.
Now we're going to push the contrast more between these two characters. We're going to make this guy super thin, poised, and
Why?
intelligent, and this guy super
No.
big,
Why?
intimidating, and stupid.
No.
The contrast is going to aid the joke in the interaction.
Aid the who? The Joe or the joke? What is he talking about?
Joke.
The joke of the interaction.
Why?
Why does they have to always exaggerate it all the way?
Look at this
It's
guy.
Like, good guys always slim and small,
Yeah.
while the bad guys is always like the most extreme.
Why can't they
No.
just have a normal looking guy and a normal looking devil? What's wrong with that?
Like, we are not playing by Fist of the North Star rules. Come on.
Oh god, yeah. If a guy wants to design two characters that have similar body types, what is wrong with that, sir? That's good. He's consistent. He's not. The demon has to be 2 sizes larger and 3 sizes wider, or I don't know, 12 sizes wider than everyone else. And that means my character has to be thin. Like, why? He's smart. He uses his brain. He doesn't exercise. Like, what the fuck? Like, who cares? What?
Yeah, this definitely demonstrates the danger of going too far into an extreme.
Nice.
Oh, look at that. Look at the middle where his elbow or the middle part of his arm is connected to the back. Oh, it's not overlapping properly. Again.
Fuck, it's another tangent. Oh no.
And also the interaction loses a lot with the normal guy not looking directly at the devil.
Wasn't it looked like the guy on the original picture was like he's got like a one up on the other guy? Like
Yeah, and the other one was like he had
implication,
like a smug expression as well.
Yeah.
While the devil was like sweating and like was like, oh no.
Now it's like
I can't be in this situation.
and now it's like the devil's an idiot. He's a muscle bound twit, and the other guy on the left is like super genius or something. The guy's like, duh, I write contract. What mean word? It's like, okay, that's not funny anymore. Before it was like two guys. One's a devil, one's a guy, and the other guy who's not a devil is smarter than the devil.
And
he
there's
has
so much space on this picture as well. Like it's unnecessary. Like you should the space like around like this picture. This should be just like cut up, like cropped, where the two characters are, and we don't have to see their legs.
The comedy from the interaction is lost here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very much so.
Like this devil doesn't even recognize that he's been had.
Yeah, and the guy is not looking cleverly towards the devil in expressing that he's one-upped him.
I feel like he's reciting a poem or something. Like, what is he? I don't get it. Anyway.
This is the next Persona game.
Appeal?
Characters' bodies are generally made of 3 major shapes, and the scale
Okay.
difference between those shapes is what makes the character design appealing or not appealing.
What?
Well, I wouldn't say so. It's more like a proportions and like how accurate you want to be, but that's really up to you.
Well, remember what we
There's
learned.
like certainly like a system that you can follow.
What we learned from neuralities is the size of the head is proportional to the age of the person.
No. Child code.
Really?
It's child code.
Man.
Oh boy. So I guess the size and shape of body is the appealing element? I don't know. Maybe. Sure. Okay. Where is he going? Let's see.
Notice the more dynamic spacing is more appealing.
What does that even mean?
The dynamic spacing. So the disproportions?
Are we like coding for CSS now?
Wait a second. So let's say Sora has really big feet, like really big feet. The rest of his legs are fine. It's just his feet, which are gigantic. Does that make it more appealing? I don't think so. It makes it more unique. It's noticeable. Same way his hair is noticeable, but his whole outfit is rather unique. So I don't think this is the proper, like, this is a very dumbed down description of what he's trying to get at. Meaning if you have a really big head or a really big, I don't know, facial hair in general, really big arm, it's like, oh, that's appealing because it looks weird. It's more detailed. I don't know. You may as well say, oh, look at this hourglass figure on a woman. It's like, that could be more appealing, but it could also be exaggerated too much. So, I don't know. What specifically is more appealing? Give us an actual example. Why?
If your character design is starting to feel bland, draw these lines on
No,
your...
no, it's fine. It's fine. What's wrong with that character? He's a generic pirate guy or something. I don't know. It's fine.
Draw on your character. Group them in a more dynamic way and redraw it.
Oh.
Ah!
Now he looks like something from Modern Cartoon Network.
Yeah, no, you're right. That ridiculous square object body or whatever the hell happened to his shoulders.
Now it looks like something that can be generated from a website.
Yeah, you could just replace the head and arms with anything.
Maybe they did that.
That's their way of making characters. They just put a random generator in and just press a bunch of buttons.
'Cause I feel like they have done something very similar with the blue creature redesign too. Like the legs or like some other parts of the body were like extremely small proportions, while the rest of the body is just like huge.
Well, what I don't like about this is his explanation changes the style. And he could have used the same style from before, which was plain and simple and 2D, rather flat, and just kept that and shown how it's... Because now he's just changed everything. The proportions and the style. So now I'm like, okay, yeah, this does look better. It's sharper. It's cleaner. It's bolder. But you could have done that without changing the proportions. So... I don't know. I don't like the change in style. And I know that's kind of hard to do because you're a different artist, but it's mixing too many things for me.
These are like appeal...
There we go. See? Like it's completely different style. Anyway.
Rulers
guy on the right
always
is
used
like,
to
oh,
double
please
check
let
your
me
design.
out.
Let's take a look at some of these designs submitted by Ege from Turkey.
Yeah, so this is the same style, right? I think.
Yeah.
That this is consistent. Everything is, the same technique, which is good.
We really like a lot of what's going on here. The designs are simple, and the artist actually designed on a lineup. Drawing on separate documents over a white void can lead to a lot of proportion issues when the characters are finally lined up together. When you design on the same document within a lineup, it allows you to compare the proportions and be more precise.
A great exercise when designing in a lineup is to create character trios. Using all the lessons we've learned so far, we can create a trio of characters that are drastically different from one another in silhouette, palette, shape motif, body variety, and pose. So the challenge is, even with all these differences, can they exist in the same universe?
Okay, but this is based off a style where we have vastly differently shaped characters. And according to the police lineup was he wanted to be more realistic. He wanted to have actual shapes and sizes and body proportions that were relatively believable. So now he's drastically changing everything in the style as well. And he's losing me again. I like the fact that there's poses, but now it's no longer flat up against the wall. It's here's a guy standing off to the side. So you're combining different messages. I don't like that. I want the actual message. Like this all looks fine.
Lineups with good variety will feel like a roller coaster. Bad lineups will be a boring train track.
I don't see how that's necessarily boring. Who cares? What if they're all relatively the same, 5'8" to 5'10"? Who cares? Why is that bad?
Because we need a diverse cast of characters.
We need
no other way to sell this.
We need a guy with a bazooka. That's what we need. Random.
Are we still on appeal?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like I had to go AFK for a few minutes there because I was already muted, but I'm glad I was because just to not diverge too much, a lightning bolt struck the ground a block away. I was curious. I was worried.
Clearly, we need sumo wrestlers who are also the size of fridges and small people carrying bazookas. I don't know. It's just how it works.
Oh, yeah. We need them to pack some heat.
Yes, they all look very different. That's true. See,
Is that a template? What the fuck?
I
love that they shaved off the hair on the side. Come on.
Yeah, I don't like this comparison. This is two completely different styles. The one on the right is more defined. It's more stylized, yes. That doesn't mean it's better.
Yeah.
Look at his legs. Look at his waist. That looks weird to me. Everything's weird.
Yeah, it's way off. It looks wrong. Yeah.
His balls are really down. That's what it's indicating.
Oh god.
His balls? What?
Well, you can see the end of his pants is just way too big.
If anything, his balls would be way high up.
Oh.
Well, on the left side, yes, but we can't see the end of it because the legs separate. Really.
Look at the midsection on the left, and then look at the one on the right. On the right, it's way high up.
Yes.
All the guy on the left has to study is more poses. Honestly, just more poses. Keep your style. Keep it simple. Give the guy some character. That's it. That's all you got to do. Change the poses. Change the perspective a bit. But because it's a lineup, you have to keep it flat anyway. So it's okay, I get it. But this guy on the right,
if you have the most simplistic design ever, if you have a really good pose and animation, that's going to sell it, really. It all depends on the pose.
Yeah. These are vastly different. I'm sorry. This is
Yeah. Like, for example, like I'm gonna like bring up like Team Fortress 2 again, but they have like beautiful shorts that were made to market the game at the beginning, but eventually they continued doing those shorts just for the hell of it for every single class. And this just tell like so much just by like the animation themselves and like the kind of like ways that they communicate through the dialogue. It's just amazing. So many things are happening in it. Like you can just tell like what kind of characters they are without them explaining their backstory. And compare this to like something like Overwatch, which is like really like much more story heavy than Team Fortress 2, because it's just like, nobody really like gives a fuck about the story of Team Fortress 2. It's because it's just an FPS game from like a very old inspired era for Quake games and such.
Hey, at least Tier 2 story is better than COD's.
Well, of course, it goes without saying, but yeah.
All right.
But again, like extremely low. It's not like the most lowest poly, but I believe it's like 6,000 polygons for each character. It's like nothing compared to nowadays.
Yeah.
But, like you can like tell so much just by like having like really nice animations and settings and lighting, shading, such things. They uplift the characters so much.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
And now he's gonna commit seppuku.
So what's the best way to exaggerate your characters more effectively?
I don't know why. Okay, again, why are we talking about exaggeration? It's all about style. Would I want to watch Monster if the characters were exaggerated visually? I don't think so.
Yeah.
That would just ruin everything. Like, why is there a guy with a giant head or a huge hunch or dinky little feet? Like, I wouldn't want. Like, what the hell am I watching? It's based off style. You have to get your style right.
It's always style, yeah.
Style is structure.
Gather reference. And that doesn't mean just browsing through Pinterest. It means all of this. Clarity of exaggeration comes from your understanding of story. Having good reference is going to help you explore every possible idea to find the best possible way to so it's always worth your time.
Like boop, 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 boop.
Oh dear.
The best storytellers are the ones who actually have a story to tell.
Oh shit.
So wait, are we talking about art now, or what are we doing?
Swimming.
The best storytellers are those who have some story to tell. Thanks.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
That doesn't mean you're going to be good at art. You might be good at visualizing and describing something, writing it down. But what he's saying is fine. Like go read. Go watch. I second that. You should be watching and reading as much as you can if you're interested in storytelling. So, but that goes hand in hand. I mean, that's pretty basic, straightforward stuff.
Yep.
What really makes a good character design? I've been working for years in the animation industry, and my honest answer is, I have no idea.
Pose! You just...
Oh, man.
So everything he said is subjective. Everything.
But yeah, the video is... How can you make a video? Like, what is good and bad character design if you have no idea? Like, this is just a fucking ball drop.
I know how to draw, guys, but I don't know how to draw.
I just really don't know like why it's good or not. Like, I know that you shouldn't like take a hard stance that like this is like the only way you should like make designs, because this industry is quite diverse, so you can like have all kinds of.
This is literally the second time where it's a video involving like something like storytelling or design or whatever, and at the very end, it's like everything I said doesn't matter. Just do it.
Just draw triangles.
I'm forgetting what
triangle.
I'm forgetting what the first time was. What the first video was where that happened.
Yeah,
but I almost died of laughter the first time.
Your silhouette is not iconic enough. Make more icons. Okay.
Use more shapes.
Oh boy.
More shapes.
use more circles. There you go. More circles.
No tangents.
More circles for the boobs.
Oh boy. Okay.
Gather is that designs with clear silhouettes and recognizable palettes and some kind of exaggeration tend to last for a long time in our human zeitgeist.
So,
and the final
why?
ingredient
No. Why is Mickey popular? Why does Mickey work? It's not because of how he looks.
It's just because of the silhouette, Smud.
It has
nothing to do with the animation.
No, it's nothing to do with the silhouette. Ah! My God.
But I love that he only spent like 10 seconds on posture.
It's like, here's a pose. That's it.
Hey, look, a bunch of poses.
You guys, if you've ever taken a 3D animation course, they're going to talk about the walk cycles, how many polys you have and why and what that means. And then they're going to talk about why their idle animation is so important. And what is an idle animation in gaming, at least, if you're doing gaming? It's when the character is just sitting by or standing or sitting, whatever, and they are just looking around, blinking, checking their things, and just standing there. That's the idle animation. It's so important to get character just by looking at a character. So visual cues are one, and the rest is the animation of poses. It's the same with models. When you're selecting a model for photography, you can't just have a pretty girl who's wearing a little bit of clothing. You have to have a proper pose. The pose determines what's going on. Is she sitting? How is she sitting? Why is she sitting that way? Is she hungry? Is she tired? Is she waiting for someone? Is she happy? Is she listening? It gives us so much to work with just on a pose. And you could talk about facial expressions with that, of course. That changes things a lot. But it's all about the body, how they walk, how they talk, how they stand. That's it. That's 90% of a character right there. And we can look to Cowboy Bebop for a great example. I talked about that at the start. So much character in those pictures. That's all you need. The rest is up to your interpretation, how your brain makes patterns out of these things. Like when Batman is scowling, like, oh, he's angry. How angry? Very angry. You don't know how angry. You don't know what he's about to do. He's got like 1,000 different ideas of how he's going to tackle a problem. Because he's Batman. Anyway, we got 4 minutes left. Yeah. We're done, but this guy is just going to keep going, so.
I hope the last 2 minutes are just Patreon.
Yes, for sponsorship, yeah.
Pray for Patreon. Oh, God. Please.
Give us money so we will know what good character design is.
Oh, yeah. The thing is, the guy's not a bad artist. He's just doing his own ideas. It's like, dude, don't ruin.
Yeah, like these two have like really like grasped like what way you can improve yourself as an artist. Because I watched one of their videos which was about line art and like how you can like get better at it, and they are so clear about it, and it was just a pleasure to watch because they also made it entertaining too. Because most of these technical videos where you have to like learn something just really like driving me to sleep. They are really boring, but they could make it entertaining. So it's just a bit shocking that they have these kind of opinions on character design for all things. Because that is like the core of like all drawings, I would say.
Okay.
Every design story. What you're really doing is creating an actor. Professionally speaking, spending time trying to find your own unique drawing style isn't as good a goal as spending time learning to draw in different styles. Professional character designers change their art style constantly to best emphasize the meaning behind every project that they're working on. Shows like South Park would be bad if you delivered the same jokes and the same story in an overly rendered style. The show's writing is crude and silly, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and the style reflects that perfectly. You might not like that style, but it's an example of extremely successful design. And vice versa, a story like Grave of the Fireflies could not be told in a style like South Park's. Personally, I think the best design is like a Beatles song. It's a very simple melody, but the unique execution is what makes it shine. The song Blackbird is an exact amount of melody, harmony, and guitar. And the moment you add anything else, the song is ruined. The real trick to character design is to go with a simple idea, executed well. Simple designs encourage the animators to have fun. You don't want to bog them down with a bunch of patterns and pockets.
Now, before you go, check out our friend's YouTube channel. Jupus is a freelance illustrator with a fantastic video that explores the fundamentals of character design in great depth.
There's another example of this.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Who's That Pokemon? Every Pokemon has a unique silhouette, and you can pretty much tell who the Pokemon is.
So it's the same video?
Just by its silhouette, with the exception of like 2.
And Animation is the best animation history channel on YouTube. Such quality writing and production value.
Action in Western animation of the 1990s and 2000s was dominated by a realistic style. Fluid motions that fed toward a character's final stance. Posing was considered, of course, but the action was very slow, almost brutish. With Gendy, his spacing of the motion is far more concise. The posing is highlighted as keyframes, and then the in-betweens are sped up so our eyes register a longer held pose.
And his Irish accent is like listening to
Okay.
And thanks for watching. Now, technically, this is the end of the original 12 videos that we plan to do on this channel. So this is the end of BAM.
Yay!
Just kidding. We love doing this, so we'll be back soon with more videos.
Season 2, Brent.
Okay.
BAM forever. 100 years.
All right, fine.
Okay, we're pretty much done.
We're done. Yay.
Memes.
Are there any? I have no idea.
There are plenty.
Oh God.
Okay.
So many memes.
But yeah, that video had very much a mix of a decent amount of good points, but also close to the same amount of bad points at times.
It was like when you get designers to talk about the technical aspects of a project, and they're like, "Well, I draw like this, therefore it's good." And you're like, "Wait, but what does that mean to be good?" And they
The color palette and the pose, like, even though it was brief, it was just spot on. Like when it was actually about the topic itself, and not just those subcategories that they think is more important.
Yeah, colors were good. Poses were about 15 seconds. That was good.
Poses, for what little he said, he was right on the money on, but he just glossed over it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay, here's Mike Testa. Here you go, Gingaman, and this is
this is the Crimson Chin, and the next one from Cyberfrog 199 is his evil counterpart, the Negachin, Nega.
He has the ascent sign.
That's pretty much the standard like evil version of the hero trope thing.
Okay,
it's like the show decided to like make fun of that trope.
I gotcha. Wow, that is a serious chin, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Retarded apple. Rapple. Okay. Are we playing the Golden Mountain game? What's going on here? Thanks, Mateus. Who is this Pokemon? Is Rapple.
Oh, fucking hell. I was actually going to guess either Voltorb or Electrode. Legit.
Okay, Mark.
It weren't for the googly eye from the Rapple, I swear.
Well, I couldn't add text, but it's from Bad Apple. It's a Toho animation from like over the decade now.
Okay.
It's just talking so much about silhouettes, and like that was the first thing I thought about.
Okay.
You know what? Yeah, it makes sense.
So it's 3D animation?
I think it's like the Japanese animation program, Miku Miku Dance. Like they used it at the time to animate these models, but like the entire video is just black and white, and basically they just change between the two, and they have like these transitions which are like very stylized to change between scenes. It's a very good animation.
Yeah, the way it looks, it seems to be 3D animated.
It is 3D animated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go Nagai is a master of silhouette. Okay. Or just drawing very basic stuff, so he doesn't have to put in any detail. That's also another way of putting it.
Yeah.
Look at those action lines. Oh my god.
No, this is like the next one.
Oh, don't you dare forget it, Sister Jill. Your time of death is coming.
No, the next one again.
Solid Snake's dummy thick is a triangle.
No, it's very clearly a square.
It's a rhombus.
No, it's round and friendly.
I could draw a rhombus with that.
Round and friendly, yeah.
Yes.
Oh dear. Well, as long as it's not Samus's ass. Samus's ass is everywhere.
You say that, but it's like one of the last pics of the day that ZachReads posted was a real spicy one of Zero Suit Samus and Snake crouching, and Snake looking at Zero Suit's ass.
Oh.
Look it up, it's real.
Yeah. Yeah, so black and white, very lots of ink, lots of expensive pages. Look at all that ink. Holy crap. Oh no, this guy's making another manga. Get all the cartridges out, guys. Print 20,000 copies of this thing. Oh, just ruin all the ink. Bayonetta, but it's been designed by a degenerate leftist. There are so many polygons.
Well, you look at that angle at the bottom. It's a good thing that he could separate it into a triangle.
Oh yeah, there's no
triangles
overlapping background foreground lines or whatever.
At least.
The joy of oppression. Oh my god. What happened here? Monet versus Smud.
Monet having like the typical Chad face beam.
Why, yes, you can contrast and complement things at the same time. It's like, what? Those are opposite words, sir. Manga, anime, Netflix. Oh.
I love this.
Oh, God. I still don't like that the middle picture. God. Dude.
Yeah, the last two aren't loading for me for some reason.
Oh. Okay. Smud, I don't disagree with the video's creator, at least in the exaggeration topic. Exaggeration is... When I was studying character design back in video game classes, that was more of an artistic thing. It wasn't a character design thing. So I don't know. It just comes down to detail or descriptions. That's what we're talking about. Like the example you showed of that weird dude with the multicolored vest and the sword and the playing cards. Like that would be an example of over detail. Like you're just too much. And I think I remember I was shown a picture of Lara Croft, and they went through two other versions of Lara Croft, and they gave her like scars and tattoos, and her shirt was all torn up and had blood. There's too much detail. You don't need to do that to showcase what this character represents. If you were to exaggerate that, like give her a gigantic scar, or like big boobs, or like gigantic feet, like it'd be like, why? Like there's no reason. It's not showcasing anything from the world outside of that's a motif. So I don't know. I remember that in Kingdom Hearts they have multiple characters with big feet. So Sora is just one of them. So it's standard. Mm-hmm. It's normal. It's not alien. It doesn't look weird because everyone else is like that. Not everyone, but a lot. So
not the Final Fantasy characters, definitely.
No. They do it mostly with the Disney characters, and but that's because Disney characters also had big feet too. So it sort of works. It's not actually exaggeration to that point. It's kind of the same with anime characters and their weapons and their gear. Like you see these big elaborate shields or swords or guns or whatever. And everyone has this big elaborate thing. So it's normal. That's fine. It's when you have the guy or girl with the really big gun and the really big sword, and she's like, 5'1" or something, and the bazooka's bigger than her. You're like, I don't know about that. Oh, she's a 1,000-year-old dragon robot or something. You're like, I still don't believe it. It's kind of goofy. Anyway, don't stick to one body type like these successful and famous shows, Clannad, Sailor Moon, K-On! But why? Why would you do this?
But why? Why would you do that?
Yeah, I know. It's like let's draw a realistic world of love and comedy. It's like, no, I want gigantic people and small girls and dragons. It's like, what? Why? Tell a simple
small
story.
Girl with big boobs.
You could do these things, but just keep it simple. Keep the storytelling simple.
And then they tell that like if you have a fully rendered art staff or something like South Park, it's not gonna really work because they mostly just deliver jokes, and they're like, yes, it doesn't work indeed. No, nobody said it's gonna be a colossal idea to execute.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was actually fun because I like talking about this stuff. I did do some visual arts.
Oh yeah.
I did some human figure painting in university. I did some, obviously, video game design. And I'm not a designer in that regard, but I am familiar with the fundamentals. A lot of the executions that they showed were bad. Like, just bad. I don't mean to offend these guys or insult them. They're obviously very talented. It's just they're not thinking about what they're saying. And they're going with the best answer that their brain came up with. It's like, oh, this is a thing. I don't even think they draw that way. I don't think people actually draw in the manner upon which they like think of the body as a series of triangles. Like, I never did that. I used if I couldn't visualize, I used my little puppet to move the body around, the arms around, to get the right pose, to get the right proportions, to get the right perspective, and then I'd think in terms of the style. So,
I think they were deliberately trying to be contrarian a little bit.
They were having fun because they're doing a good job. Like they know how to do art. They know how to make it. So trying to explain the process is doesn't translate too well, I think. And
I think like they were coming from the perspective of like a Californian art student, really, because not student, but like someone who works around that industry. Because like most of the modern examples that they were showing are like the shows that were running like the past 5 or 10 years. So like when they were asked like what is a good character design, and the guy was like speechless, like he couldn't really like point out like what's good about it. All they could do is just rely on that fundamentals that they have described as the main points of the character.
Yeah, I mean when you talk about like that whatever blue chick that was drawn very well, it's like that artist knew what they were doing. That was their own style.
It looked like something from the 2000s, really.
Maybe.
That design.
And for him to take his own style and change it is like you're missing the point. You're trying to explain something but not doing the right job. And whenever an artist, like there's some artwork that I don't know why you'd want to copy it. It's so good the way it is. And if only it had this or that. It's like, no, it's fine. You don't need to add anything to it. The artist knew what they were doing. That's how they expressed it. If there's a mistake or a smudge or whatever, it's fine. But no, Sailor Moon is fine. She doesn't have to be 5'8". She could be 5'4". I don't care. I can't tell it. She looks tall to me. She has really long legs, but in reality, she's really tiny. Sure, that just means that Darian looks like he's like 6'10" or whatever. So, but it's. I don't like this mixing of styles and trying to explain a point when the fundamental he's trying to explain is not actually practical. So
yeah, I was expecting like some fixes like perspective and such, like the pose itself, like just like make like different poses. Like that is like way more important. That tells way more things about the character.
When you get poses right, you can play with perspective and proportion, because if some things are bigger in perspective, they're going to look exaggerated anyway. So you have this punch coming at the screen, it's going to be huge freaking fist, and that doesn't look right because it's huge, but that's the perspective. So perspective can skew things in a certain light, and then you learn how to understand that. How far should the skew go? And the whole idea of contrasting and complement, I was like, dude, no, that's just wrong. I'm sorry. But that's fine. We could have differences. They're doing this as a job, as a living. Good for them. But I always translate this back to storytelling. And you could imagine, if you can't draw, how would you write this down in descriptive text? How would you paint that picture on the page without paint, without ink? And it's the same thing. Obviously, the visual medium is faster and easier to grasp. But imagine that, writing a character. Imagine an RPG character sheet. How would you describe that character? Why would you give him 20 strength and 5 intelligence? What does that mean? What does that look like? Write that out. Anyway.
Yeah.
We're done here. Thank you, sirs. Here's GeoWolf for the 5. Thank you. These guys is really only come from the idea simple is better that the current Western animation studios are pushing purely to make animating easier. Huh. That's a...
Yeah, I have heard about that, yeah, too. But
yeah, why do you think
it does make sense?
Why do you think the whole joke about the Cal Art style is a thing?
Right, but I mean, I would say the manga style drawn is actually simpler until you start. Like, that's the beautiful thing about manga, is that the faces are really, really easy and simple to grasp. It's everything around the face, like the action, the background, the animation in that regards are very different.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I like about seeing these action scenes, because you can identify, oh, this guy's feeling this, he's thinking that. Even the realistic style of animes, where it's almost looking like a normal person, it's a high quality form of animation. And
yeah, I recently started reading Lone Wolf and Cub, and it was at first I was like considering like how the art looks like, and the character faces and such were like so simple, but once they go to like a fight scene, it's like gets so cinematic and detailed. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's like
all the shading that was done.
It is like he's watching Kurosawa and he's going, okay,
yes,
I want...
Like the artist has cited Kurosawa as a huge inspiration, and I can definitely see that. Yeah, it's real. Like I love reading that. I read it not every year, but you know, my brother bought the manga. It's my favorite manga I've ever read, and it's just beautiful storytelling. So the art's great, stories are great. It's just episodic in nature, which is not what I don't like, but because of the hidden plot at the end, you're like, really? He was doing all that for this? Oh, like we knew it was revenge, but we didn't know how. And it's just this bizarre, crazy idea. I go, okay, man, you are one crazy son of a gun. So it's a great story, Lone Wolf and Cub. Oh, check it out. That's a recommendation. Just go read Lone Wolf and Cub. There you go. Okay. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Have yourself a great evening, and keep the suggestions coming. Bye-bye. Bye.